WhyGuru, 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 WhyGuru,
WhyGuru, WhyGuru, WhyGuru, WhyGuru, WhyGuru, WhyGuru, WhyGuru, WhyGuru, WhyGuru, WhyGuru। जतन बहुत मैं कर रहे हो, मिट्यो न मन को मान, दुर्मत स्यो नानक फदियो, राख ले हो भगवान, राख ले हो भगवान। राम नाम उर मैं गहयो, जाके सम नहीं कोए, जह सिमरत संकट मिटे, दर्श तुहारो होए। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। Those are sloks from Slok Melanova of the 9th Guru. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj, 9th Guru. So they're born in 1621. Yeah? And obviously, as a son of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, with the youngest of the 5 brothers, yeah, they're in an environment which is, very martial. And when they're about, the name is given Tyagmal when they're born, master of renunciation. And they fought in the Kartarpur battle. We talked about in Guru, when we were talking about Guru Tegh Bahadur Har Gobind Sahib Ji, there was a battle. This is the Kartarpur, not of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, but the Kartarpur of Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, yeah? Separate town. And in that battle, when they were only 13, they were fighting. And they were so brave that they were given this name of Tegh Bahadur. Tegh means a kirpan, and Bahadur means brave. So they're brave with the sword. And they're well known for just chopping people in half. Now some people think, oh man, you got to hack somebody really hard to get a sword through them, yeah? The thing is, the kirpan is one of those weapons that a lot of people don't understand, because we watch movies, we're used to people chopping stuff. Kirpan is not a chopping instrument. It's curved, right? The point of a curved instrument is it cuts into you, and as it cuts into you, it goes further deeper into you because it's curved. So as you put it here, as you move around, you just go into someone, and it will keep on cutting. So as long as you can get in somewhere and just have enough kirpan left to pull through them, it will just chop them. So that in the old days, they would just move things like this. It's very soft, light movements, but it would get through you. So Maharaj was very brave. They were very good at doing this, at fighting as Shastratari. They were part of the Akal Sena, the army of God. And they are married off to Mata Gujri in 1632. Yeah. So obviously they weren't very old themselves. She was about 12. They were about 13. Yeah. And they, at this point, after the battles, they actually went into a sort of no more battle. Yeah, they had kind of like renounced the whole world almost. Yeah, and they spent basically 20 years in where they went to Guru Har Rai, and in I jumped ahead. When in 1644 the Guruship goes to Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji, they're the uncle of Guru Har Rai. Yeah, you get it? They're the son of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Guru Har Rai is a grandson, so they weren't that interested in the Guruship at that time. But because of their relationship with being the uncle of the Guru, and sometimes like Guru is the most important person, but then because there's the uncle of the Guru there, then people might think, well, what shall relationship be with that person? Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji actually said to Tegh Bahadur Ji at that time, say, go to Bakale, yeah. So go over there, do your bhakti over there. You don't need to be here in the center of the Sikh psyche. You can sort of retire kind of thing. So they went away to Bakala village, and they basically stayed there in deep meditation for roughly 20 years. Yeah. Now, does that mean they didn't eat in that time? Their wife was doing their seva at that time. Mataji hadn't had a child, And for the next 20 years, Guru Sahib basically did just like to go underground. That was their thing. So when it comes to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji in the Guru song, we teach the kids, we just show them somebody sitting in meditation, yeah? And because that's what they did. And if you even go to Amritsar, once when they became the Guru, they were refused entry into Amritsar, Darbar Sahib. And Guruji didn't go inside Darbar Sahib, they were refused entry, so they stayed just outside. And what they did again was make themselves a pura, dug a hole down, and they stayed underground. And the women of Amritsar would come and do their seva. And so now if you go to Amritsar, right next to Akal Takht Sahib, behind, there's a Gurdwara. It's like a big bunga tower there. But when you go in that Gurdwara, everybody goes down to the bottom. Because that's where they used to stay, yeah? That was their thing. They like to be sort of in the earth doing meditation. It's funny that she's reminding me of this. Have you seen that article about Alexandra Aitken, the lady who became a singer? So there was an article in the week about her and how she likes to live in the garden. Her father, Jonathan Aitken, was complaining that she likes to sleep in the garden. And he attributed her to her Sikh beliefs. And I was I'm not sure, man, I know many Sikhs myself that sleep in their garden. But anyway, maybe she was taking inspiration from Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj, I don't know. They have no children during that time. So there's no, they're just doing bhakti the whole time. And what happens is that at that time, when I said to you about Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji in Delhi, yeah, and they say Baba Bakalle, right? Then what happens? Everybody goes to Bakalla to go and find the next Guru. But what happens is that there's this guy called Makhan Shah Lawana. Now Makhan Shah obviously means butter king, so that's how my kids remember it. Yeah. So I don't know if he traded Makhan itself. I doubt it. But anyway, that was his name, Makhan Shah. And what happens is that he is in a storm. He's a trader, fairly rich trader. He's in a storm. His ship could be capsized. He could die. His whole crew could die. And he makes an appeal to his guru. And at that time, Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji was the guru. So he thought, he'd appeal, Maharaj, save me. You are the most powerful of all. Save me. And I promise I will come to your Guruship and give 500 gold coins. Yeah. Now, you can't buy your guru. Just make that clear. It was obviously he was a proper Sikh and he made a das, out of his heart. So don't think that he just thought you can, Maharaj, I'll buy you a Bentley or, whatever. So sometimes Babe might be like that nowadays. Like, you buy me a Bentley, I'll give you Bear Kirpa. But it wasn't like that. So Maharaj, he promises 500, but the reason it was important is because how the story developed. Yeah. So just see, like, it's all part of history, but it's all part of Hukum as well. So he goes to Delhi, to give his, because he heard Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji in Delhi. He goes to Delhi to give his 500 gold coins. When he gets there, Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji's Jyoti Jyot already. And they say to him, well, the next Guru was said to be in Bakalle. So then he goes, right, I have to do my duty. Obviously, now this guy is not some kind of person who's like, wait, great, I can't find him, no one can find him, sweet. He's like, my Guru is, I made a promise to my Guru. So he then goes to Bakalle to fulfill this promise. He goes all the way there. And at that time, now remember the Guruship had to stay in the family, right? Remember that we talked about that from Guru Amar Das Ji, that the boon was given, that the Guruship had to stay in the family. So now from the Sodhi family, because Guru Ram Das Ji's lineage just started, yeah, Sodhi Sultan, there was 22 members in that pind of Bakalle from Guru Ram Das Ji's family, yeah. And they all said, we're the Guru. Sare khade ho gaye se this the Guru's in Bakalle, appa Guru ban jande hege. So they all got dressed up and pretended to be the Guru. And so this guy goes there and he's like, well, who do I choose? Which of these Gurus is like the right one? So he says, look, the Guru must know. He saved me. He must know my promise. Guru's Antarjami. So you see, the Sikhs had a belief in their Guru as well. That the Guru had to be a certain type of person to be their Guru. Not just anybody could be the Guru. The Guru had divine powers. Yeah. So Makhan Shah then goes up and he starts giving each person 2 gold coins. Matha taking to them. And obviously they go, thanks so much for these gold coins. Hanji ki kariye. Don't ask anything else about the other 498 gold coins, yeah? So he realizes that they're fake and he goes, and all of them turn out to be fake. He says, none of these are the Guru. So he asks, is there anybody else in Bakalle? Anybody else? And they say, well, there is this one person. We haven't seen him for years. But he's living in that, up down there in that house. No one sees him. No one knows who he is. Because over 20 years, if you never come out of your pora, people forget who you were. You know? So he gets forgotten about, and he goes there, and then basically he goes under to the seva of Guru Sahib. He goes there and he bows down with his 2 coins, and he says, Maharaj, I've done my peta. Guru Sahib looks up and he goes, 2 gold coins, Makhan Shah. You promised me 500. And he falls at Maharaj's feet. He goes, Maharaj, you are my Sache Pasha. Maharaj says, hold on. He goes, he goes, look over here. And Maharaj pulls back his shirt, and there are bruises. When Maharaj said, look, with this shoulder, I held up your ship. With this, and now you come to me with 2 gold coins. Makhan Shah said, Maharaj, I was only testing you. Maaf karna, Maharaj. You know? And then he just gets so excited. He runs to the roof, and he goes, Guru Lado re, Guru Lado. Lado means I found. Lab gaya. Mera Guru lab gaya. And from Makhan Shah's, he was destined to have that history of being the person who discovered the Guru for the rest of the Sikhs. Yeah? And so then Guru Sahib then comes out. Now what happens is that the pretenders, right, some of them were related to Tirmal, and also, remember there's Priti Chand as well. So they shot at Guru Sahib. She got, guns must have been around. They shot at Maharaj and they injured him as well. But they didn't kill them. However, the thing, they took all their possessions. They sort of beat the people up and then took all their possessions. But Maharaj says, but Makhan Shah said, look, we'll go there, we'll sort this out, I'll get all my men. Maharaj says, nahi, koi na. Just bring me back my Bani. Yeah? They were tyag, they were tyagi sige. Kuch nahi sige, nothing was important to them. They said, bring me back my Bani though. Yeah? So that was brought back. So Maharaj had a poti. While they were underground, they must have been writing Bani. Yeah? And that was the Bani that we have now. So Guru Sahib keeps the same royal persona, same kind of clothing, yeah, the royal king's clothing, the kalgi. They have the army, but there's no more fighting by them. In their time, they were not involved in any fighting. Now, they go to visit Harmandir Sahib, but like I said, they were never allowed to enter. What was the reason? Because Priti Chand, he had been in Harmandir Sahib, right? And Guru Arjan Dev Ji had obviously become Shaheed. Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji hadn't lived in Amritsar. They had moved away to Kiratpur Sahib and Sri Hargobind Sahib. So in those towns they lived, and then later on the family goes to Kiratpur Sahib of Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji and everybody. So he's been left there. And they call themselves the Meenas. So we're not allowed to meet with these people, yeah? When you take Amrit, they will say the names of these 4 people, Meene, and then Meene and the Ram Rai, the people that follow Ram Rai and not Guru Har Rai. So we're not allowed to meet with them. So the Meene had taken over Harmandir Sahib, yeah? And so Guru Sahib doesn't go there, but they stay at Thara Sahib, which is the Gurdwara just outside. Well, now it's inside the Darbar Sahib complex, but in those days it was outside the Darbar Sahib complex, just behind the Kal Takht Sahib. And they bless the women of Amritsar for the seva that they do. Yeah. So remember the importance of Sikh women is still there. Yeah. What they do though is Maharaj buys a site in Himachal Pradesh and they call it Chak Nanaki, because their mother was Bibbe Nanaki, the wife of Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. Yeah? So they were the son of Bibbe Nanaki, and later this becomes Anandpur Sahib. So when you look at, like, remember I talked last time, Amritsar wasn't always called Amritsar. It used to be called Ram Daspur, yeah, and then Ram Das Sarovar, and then it got changed from Ram Daspur to Amritsar by Guru Arjan Dev Ji. So in the same way, Chak Nanaki later on becomes Anandpur Sahib. Okay. Now Guru Har Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj is very keen on his preaching of Sikhi, yeah, very keen. And not just to Punjabis, how we do nowadays, yeah? Like, most of the people from India, they say Punjabi bolya karo. But that means you're only going to preach the Punjabis, aren't you? Punjabi bolni hai, how are you going to preach the people that are not Punjabi? So Maharaj does a travel and they go to the east, right? Now from India, going towards the east means towards Bhutan, Nepal, and obviously Assam, UP, Bangladesh. And they go there and they actually go to those places that Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to as well. They go to those places, yeah? That Maharaj went to, and at the same time they make a lot of Sikhs. Now those Sikhs are still there. There's still people in like Assam who look like Chinese people, yeah, and they're Sikhs from Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's time. And there's pictures of them coming to pilgrimage to Amritsar. And they don't speak Punjabi, yeah, but they read Guru Granth Sahib Ji. They keep their case and they're like, they're Sikhs, but they're not Punjabi Sikhs. So I think sometimes we think all Sikhs are Punjabi. Yeah, but now we know that people that are not Punjabi are all Sikh, but we think that it's only Punjabi Sikhs or it's white Sikhs. But there's loads of Indians who are not Punjabi who are also Sikhs. Like if you go to Patna Sahib, then there's Biharis that are Sikhs. Hai? Then Hazur Sahib, you've got Maharashtrian peoples who are Sikhs. So it's not, nowadays, we're too Punjab centric. Now, in that time that they are traveling, they don't see their son. Their wife, Mata Gujri ji, has obviously conceived. I think the sheher, the actual place where they conceived is written down in Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Bani. It's not in Patna, but Mata ji ends up staying in Patna Sahib, which is like a Gurdwara that Guruji is based at. Patna Sahib, if you understand, like if I'm like India and Punjab is over here, Patna Sahib is like out here, very far away from Punjab. And that's where Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's family starts to reside, and that's where their wife resides, and that's where Guru Gobind Singh Ji is born as a child. Yeah, very far away from Punjab. Their first language isn't Punjabi. Around them is spoken Bihari. Yeah, that's why Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Bani, when we read it, it doesn't sound like Punjabi Bani. Although Chandi Diwar is in Punjabi, yeah, but still, it's not. It's slightly different the way that they speak. So they don't see their son until 3 or 4 years old. Why? Because they're out there spreading Sikhi. And the mission was spread Sikhi. So now when we think about what we're doing, it's like we're so attached to our families, Sikhi is not important in terms of spreading, huh? But in those days it was. Now here's a little Bani, yeah, from Guru Tegh Bahadur, because obviously we couldn't speak about the Bani of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji or Guru, or Guru Har Rai, Guru Har Krishan Sahib Ji. But Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji does write Bani. And when you do your Akhand parts or your Sahaj parts, most of you, when you go to Gurdwara for that Pog program, it will finish off with this. Because this is, first comes Slok Mananova, then comes Mandavni Mahalla Panjava, and then the Salok, and then comes Ragmala. So the point is, this is read by a lot of people daily. Yeah, because it's very small, it takes about 6 minutes, 6-7 minutes to read in one go. Yeah, and it's very, very deep. So there's a couple of quotes here from Slok Malanova. Maharaj says, Gun Gobind Gayo Nahi Janam Akar Takeen Kahu Nanak Har Pajmana Jeh Bid Jal Ko Meen. Like the fish is attached to water, then stay attached to God in that way. Pulona. Yeah? Stay inside God. That's what we're saying. Stay remembering God. God's inside you and you're inside God. The Maharaj says, look over here. What is it? Nindya ustat nindya nahije kanchan loho saman. So you haven't got nindya. You don't care about nindya. You don't care about slander. Or you don't care about praise either. So somebody's unaffected by these two things. Gold and iron are alike, which is why we have kade made out of saravlu. Yeah, they're not gold. A lot of people do wear gold kade nowadays. I'm not going to point fingers. However, that's not important to us. Maharaj says this person mukat tahe tejan. That person is mukt because they're not attached to this world. They're separate. Sometimes you meet somebody and they just seem like unaffected, like sort of veparva. They seem, people that are spiritual, they seem to be like, on another world. Maharaj says, be like that person. Yeah, be in another world. And then again, Maharaj said, look, no pleasure, no pain. Friend and enemy is alike. Maharaj said, this person liberated. Bari meet saman. Your bari and your friend meet are the same. And this is the one that is often quoted by people, which you might have heard. Pੈ ਕਾਹੂ ਕੋ ਦੇਤ ਨਹਿ ਨਹਿ ਪੈ ਮਾਨਤ ਆਨ ਕਉ ਨਾਨਕ ਸੁਨ ਰੇ ਮਨਾ ਅਗਿਆਨੀ ਤਾਹੇ ਬਖਾਨ. That person is a gyani who doesn't give fear and is not afraid of anything. So living nirpo means to live without fear. Don't scare anybody. Don't be afraid. Very, very deep. Also, what Maharaj does is, we talk about this again when you come to the Rag Kirtan, is there's a whole Rag made by Guru Sahib. This Rag is not a Rag that's ever existed before in India. So now you might say, well, in those 20 years, they probably weren't playing Kirtan by themselves, probably just meditating. How did they end up becoming an expert in Rag enough to actually make a new Rag? Yeah, and a Rag now that's very popular. A lot of people in India learn this Rag, but it's made by our Guru. Because obviously it's not coming from Guru, it's coming from God. All of this knowledge is Brahm Gyan. Yeah? Maharaj, just look, a lot of, if you read Guru Tegh Bahadur's Bani, a lot of it is very sort of, the world is not real. Nothing is real. What are you doing with your life? Why are you not meditating upon God's name? It's very deep. It's very sort of, for me, it's like very Buddhisty, you know? Like, you know, the world is just an illusion. Even Maharaj goes so far in Slok Mananova, they say, Jo sapna ar pekhna, aise jag ko jaan. Sapna is like a dream, isn't it? They say just like a dream or a pekhna. Pekhna means like a show, we watch a movie, yeah? It's not real, right? Jo sapna ar pekhna, aise jag ko jaan. Know the world like this. Inme kach sacho nahi. Nothing is real in this. Nanak bin Bhagwan. Without God, nothing is real in this. So Maharaj says to Shabad, look, you know, what would your life be? What are you going to be in your next life when you're not listening to God's name? You're in corruption. You haven't turned your mind away from the bikya of the world, the poison of the world, and focus upon God. It's this question for us. We have to ask ourselves, like, Mera kyu hoega? I got this human life. I didn't even meditate upon God once. For the sake of pleasure, now I'm stuck at my house. I'm not separated from my family environment, thinking internally about what I need to think about in my next life. Maharaj says the whole world is just a dream. And then do meditate upon God, innit? The world is a dream. We don't take a dream seriously. Part of Bani says, what would you say to that king who had a dream he was a pauper? And in his dream, he wakes up from his dream, he's like, and looks around, he's like, oh, I still got everything that I had. Have you ever had a dream when you wake up from it and you're like, that was really realistic? Did it really happen? Is the world really real? Yeah, I've had some of those dreams and it's scary because you wake up from it. Maharaj says that's what this world is like. This human life is like. You were one with God. This life is like a dream because you get so involved in this life, you forget, Asi jana hai to. It's not real. Jana hi jana hai. So why not focus upon WhyGuru, where we come from? Now, the Shahidi is very important. It's very important in general for Sikhs, but it's also like something that personally for me, I wasn't aware of this when I was growing up. When I heard about this and what my Guru Sahib did, it really shook me to the core. Yeah. Now, why? Maharaj, they have one son, Gobind Rai. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So we have to sort of go into Guru Gobind Singh Ji for a bit and then come back to Shahidi. Yeah. So Guru Gobind Rai is born in 1666. Very easy to remember, yeah? And then 1699 is obviously the Khalsa. So these it's good to remember these figures just so you know roughly like when things happened, yeah? Guru Gobind Rai is born at this time. The Maharaj comes back from their travels when they're about 4 years old in 1670. The whole family then in 1672 moves to Chakkananiki, which is obviously Anandpur Sahib later on, yeah? Why I say Chakkananiki again and again is because some of the historical texts will call it Chak. Maharaj just calls it Chak, yeah? And that was a nickname for it, but then it refers to Anandpur. Now, the Mughal oppression by Aurangzeb gets really bad. Remember Aurangzeb's that kind of lovely son who's imprisoned his dad, yeah, and killed his brother as well, yeah? And he starts converting people by the sword. He's very sort of what you might call Islamist nowadays, yeah? He's not like just a Muslim, he's like Islamist. Now, one of his generals, Iftikhar Khan, in Kashmir is very brutal. And he decides, right, Iftikhar Khan, yeah, I've got a great idea. Why don't we just convert all the Pandits in Kashmir? And once we convert all the Pandits, right, then what's going to happen is that the rest of the Hindus will follow suit because all their leaders are going to become Muslim. So that was his bright idea. Now, the Pandits come to Guruji to ask for help. He say, Maharaj, you are Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, you are the king of kings, you're the son of, you're the lineage of Guru Nanak, your father is Bandi Chor, you call yourself like Guru Arjan Dev Ji, we said, Guru Amar Das Ji was called Nitanya Ke Taan, Ni Otya Ke Ot, Ni Asar Ke Asar, those that have no place, you are their place, yeah? Now, help us. And Guruji is sitting there thinking, in deep thought, and their son, must have been about 9 years old, says, Dad, what are you so concerned about? And Maharaj says, look, for what they've asked me for, somebody really big has to lay down their life. Now look what comes out of the 9-year-old Gobind Rai's mouth. He said, Maharaj, who is bigger than you? If you want somebody really big to lay down their life, ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰੋ. You're the biggest there is. Now, it's the mere recognition, isn't it, of the Guru that makes you worthy. That the Sikh could say, Maharaj, there is nothing bigger than you. Jo tusi kende oi theek hai. We talked about all the history of our religion. Those people that accepted Guruji as the one, with no doubt, with full shraddha, they're the ones that will recognize. So now Maharaj sends his own father away to Shahidi. Yeah? The challenge is issued then by Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. They say, if you can convert me, you can convert all the Sikhs and the Hindus as well. I won't stop you. But if you can't convert me, you have to leave them alone as well. Now this challenge is taken up by Guru Sahib. Yeah, by the Mughals. They say, yeah, that's a good idea. Because they're thinking, we get both the Sikhs and the Hindus in one go. And they're experts at converting people and being very brutal. So then in 1675, Maharaj, before they go to Delhi, before they go to the Mughal kingdom, they then make their son the Guru. Okay? It doesn't happen. They make them the Guru there and then. Same succession ceremony, tikka and all that kind of stuff, the coconut, and they're only 9 years old. So remember, Guru Gobind Rai, 9-year-old, is already Sarbanstani. He's given up his own father. Yeah. Now, Maharaj starts to go towards Delhi, but he's arrested straight away, and he's taken to Sarhand, and they're kept in Sarhand for 4 months, and then they're taken to Delhi. So they're in prison. They're trying to break their spirit, not like just take him straight to Delhi, but break him down slowly, keep him in dark, all that kind of stuff. 3 Sikhs go with them. Those 3, the names are written up there. So when they go to Delhi, Lal Killa is where they're taken to. You know Lal Killa, yeah? Big red building, comes up in all that. So opposite Lal Killa is this place, Gurudwara Seesganj. Obviously it wasn't there then. So opposite Lal Killa was just a public square. Like you might say, what's opposite the Kremlin? Big public square, yeah? Or opposite. So that's where they were taken, that's where they were beheaded. So what happens is, they're taken to Lal Killa and they're asked to convert. Maharaj refuses. So what they do is, they get their Sikhs in front of them. They say, well, before we kill this person, let's see what we do to his followers and let him experience that his followers, what's going to happen to them, see whether he changes his mind then. And also to strike terror into the hearts of all those people. Because there were Sikhs in Delhi, we have known, and there were definitely Sikhs in Delhi at that time. We know that. They were there, and they wanted to test those Sikhs as well, see who comes forward. So what they do is, Bhai Mati Das, he's the older brother. Yeah? And there's Bhai Sati Das, who's the younger brother. Those 2 brothers, they went with Maharaj. The older brother was sawn in half. Now, it's a great, not a story, but it's a part of our history. That Bhai Mati Das was asked, yeah, have you got any last wishes before you die? Like they even have it here as well, last wish. Bhai Mati Das says, Kijra aa raha hai na, this thing you're going to chop me in half. And holi chalai. Don't go too fast. Go slowly. Now the executioner is shocked. He says, what do you mean slowly? He says, main Japji Sahib part padna. I want to finish one Japji Sahib. They aina karenge, you cut my tongue and I can't finish my part. And it's front of his guru, he's standing there. And Guru Tegh Bahadur says to Bhai Mati Das, don't worry. They can't stop you, Japji Sahib. They won't be able to stop it. And as they start to cut him, even though he's been cut in half and his tongue's cut in half, the part still comes out of his body. Or the pura sareer is jumping Japji Sahib until it finishes. And then he finally, when Jinni naam te aaya, gaye masagat ka, nanak te mukh ujale, keti shutti naal. Then his soul leaves. So that's the power that Maharaj could bless this Sikh with. And that was if Japji Sahib was inside his body, innit? Ram naam urme gayo. It's gone inside his heart. Rom. Gurmukh Rom harte aave. That's why we don't cut our hair as well. That the Gurmukh, with every single hair on their body, every single Rom, harte aave, meditates upon God. Then Bhai Sati Das, the younger brother of Bhai Mati Das, he's wrapped in cotton wool and he's burnt alive. This is in front of Guru Tegh Bahadur. Dekho, look, we see that Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji couldn't even get up from his lunch or to go and have his food when a Sikh was holding on to his feet. Or dekho, fir what would have beaten on Guru Sahib, hai na? It's just like, we might think, they were just his Sikhs, but Guru Gobind Singh Ji said they're his children. He said, "Char muhe ta kya hua?" So it's a father seeing his sons being killed in front of him. Then Bhai Sati Das is wrapped in cotton wool and burnt. Bhai Dayala Das, Dayal Das, he's boiled alive. Now, Pai Dayala Das is a brother of Pai Mani Singh, Sakka Pra. Okay? So remember this family of Shaheeds, it goes through. All of this happens in front of Guru Sahib. Maharaj was to, and then finally, when their 3 children are being killed in front of them, then the Mughals say to them, if you can do a miracle, if you can prove any kind of miracle, we will let you go. Because then you would have proven yourself to be a Paigambar or a Peer. Because so far they'd seen miracles already, that these 3 had accepted Shahidi in this way, which was unknown to them. Hondo Dargesege, they might be thinking, you know what, let him do a miracle and we'll let him go and we won't invite any more. Maharaj says, I'll show you a miracle then. And they get a string and they write something on a piece of paper, fold it up, and they put it around their neck. And now the Muslims believe in that string around their arm, don't they? And Maharaj says, now you can't cut my neck off. Karke dekho. Wow, they say, wow, check this out. So they do. They try. And they do chop the head off. And then underneath, when they open up that piece of paper, it says, I gave up my life, but I didn't give up my principles. They never bent even for 1 second. That was our Guru, man. Soon as they beheaded the Mughals, at that time they say, Koi hor hega, come forward. Come forward if you are sick of the Guru. And no one came forward. They knew what had happened. They saw, but they were more scared of a physical death than of denying their Guru. So this is the halat that had happened that time of the Sikhs. Obi Dargesige. What happens is though, because remember we talked about Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, when they were Shaheed, the body never came out of the water. Remember? Because the Maharaj doesn't want their shareer to have byad done to it. Although they are Akal Purukh's own light, fir byad bhi nahi hon deni, hai na? So what happens is that there's a storm in Delhi straight after. Big dust storm. And it just goes like, everybody's like, whoa, crazy, go inside. And in that maelstrom, in that kind of storm, all that's going on, 2 Sikhs come forward. One takes the head, puts it in a bag, and takes it up to, like by Jethaji, takes the head of cease of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji and takes it to Anandpur Sahib. He leaves straight away to show Guru Gobind Rai. But the body obviously he can't take in that way. And so by Lakhi Shah Vanjara. Now Pai Jethaji is a Rangreta. So they call Guru Ka Beta. Maharaj blessed them for this seva. But Lakhi Shah Vanjara means he's like a gypsy. And Lakhi Shah took the body and took it to his house with his son, him and his son. He took it back to their house. And that Gurdwara is there, where what they did is, they put it in their house, and they said, look, Jasi hon kita ag lagati on a funeral pyre outside, everybody know who it is. And they might come and stop it, they might come and take the body away, they might hang it up from a pole somewhere. Na besti hoegi meri Guru di. So what did he do? Unhe apni ghar nahi ag lata. He burnt his own house down with Guru Sahib's body inside. Yeah. Bani says, Kabir, aisa koi na janme ho. No one has been born like this. Apne kar lave aag. Apne kar lave aag. There's no one who's been born like this who's burnt his own house. Papai Lakhi Shah was born. He burnt his own house down for his Guru. And that place is Rakabganj Gurdwara. So when we go to Delhi, go to these places. You see that Guru Sahib was beheaded here. A Sikh went from here. He carried Maharaj with his son all the way to Rakabganj Gurdwara. See how far it is. Feel that, because it's our history, It ain't some like further away history. It's not something that's not real. We know where this happened. It's sach hega or hoya hega. Now, Lakhi Shah Vanjara takes that. Pai Jethaji goes back to Anandpur Sahib. When Pai Jethaji gets to Anandpur Sahib, Guru Gobind Rai obviously gets now the head of their father. And they ask, when my father was there, how many people were shaheed with him? He said, Maharaj, 3 people were shaheed with him. They said, what about the other hundreds of Sikhs that were there? They sent some Sikhs as well. He said, Maharaj, they all denied you. They all said, we're not Sikhs. So that's Guru Gobind Singh. He said, now Guru Gobind Rai at that time, I will give my Sikhs such a form, they'll never be able to deny what they look like, who they are, that they're a Sikh. That's the reason. I remember, I read this story. I was like, man, look at that principle, the principle of freedom for everybody to practice their faith. That's what they didn't do it for anything else, did they? This Shahidi is not given because Guru Sahib chose to give it for themselves. This Shahidi is to save the Hindus from being converted. That somebody else out there needs help and they come to Guru Sahib puts his own body on the line, his whole head on the line. We will step forward. When no one steps forward, we will step forward. And on that principle then, I thought that that's a great principle. I looked at myself in the mirror. I was munna. I was like, tu besharam hai. I said, you got your kade on. I had 3 kade on at that time. I said, you don't represent nobody. So that's what made me keep my case. And if I say to any of you guys, why we keep our case, this is the reason we keep our case. That no one can then say, who are you? We always tell who we are. We should stand out. The mission of our Guru is that we stand out for his principles. Kahan je koi aur mange ki kash there was a Sikh to come and save me right now, then we'll stand out like a sore thumb. I wish there was a Sikh and they'll see one. And dekho, if you were lost in a foreign country, I'll ask you a question. If you were lost, let's say you got robbed, you had nothing, and then you saw a Sikh, wouldn't you be so happy yourself? Wouldn't you be like, oh, main bach gaya? No matter what, you're going to get saved by that Sikh. You're going to get roti, you're going to go home. It
actually works the other way. Normally when you're in another country, if you are sick, someone will come up to you.
Yeah, and they say, oh, Paji is sick. Yeah. But then, if we don't look like this, who's going to know, innit? Kenu pata lagna. I remember I was in Hong Kong. I was bahut thakya hoya. I got there after a long journey. I only had like $10 in my pocket. And I'd spent it on the bus fare. And I was walking after my gap year. I had a rucksack on my back, rucksack on my front, 1 bag in each hand, all my worldly goods from China that I'd collected over 6 months. I'm plodding, it's like 2 miles to the Gurdwara. And it's like a hill like this. I'm plodding down the road, really, only 18. Some guy comes out, he sees a kada on my hand. He goes, "Kithe ja rahe hain? Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to Gurdwara. I heard it's on this road." He goes, "Yeah, it's just keep going." He looked at me and he goes, "Come here, I'll get you a Coke." The cash. He goes, "See, guy had a shop over there." And he got me a Coke. I rested 5 minutes. So, the case, I didn't have case at that time, but the point is, and that this is what we our nishani, our Guru di more hai. When you have a coin, when that coin doesn't have a stamp, everybody looks at that coin, ki ye hai ki. Try it tomorrow, take the £2 coin, take sandpaper and rub everything off. Go to the shop and try to use it. Sabne dekhna hai ki. What is it? What coin is this? Maharaj kande case Guru di more hai. More means a stamp. Yeah? So that he can see who we are. So Maharaj, this is Guru Gobind Singh Ji's writings now. This is what they write about their father. Isn't it good to get a first-hand source? If we start saying Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Bani, we don't read it, we're going to get a first-hand account of what happened to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji there. Koi hor keh dewe, now they're saying in Hindu books that he was accused to be a murderer or a thief or something like this. But we got our father's writings here. Appa kithe hor nahi padna niya. Maharaj says that tilak janju rakha prabhataka, that he saved their tilak and their janju, the thread. You know the janju that Guru Nanak Ji didn't wear? That thread. For the sake of that, he did a great thing in Kaljug. Yeah? He laid down for the sake of the saints, for the sake of those people who were, when they say saints, we mean the people that were on the right path. Yeah? They weren't trying to cause mayhem. They were just pandits. They were just doing their own thing. Yeah? We're not against religion. We're just against people that are causing conflict and doing eartharam. Maharaj said, for the sake of those saints, he laid down his head without even giving a sign. Sign here means didn't do any miracles. Maharaj didn't do any miracles. And dharam ke liye. For dharam, for the sake of dharam, he sacrificed his life. But not his creed, not his faith. Didn't break his own rules. Maharaj says, the saints of God abhor the performance of miracles and malpractices. But yet Maharaj does miracles. But not for the sake of showing off to people. And not on any command. Everything they do is because they will it to be so. They can never get forced by someone to show off. That's what happened to Ram Rai. He showed off, yeah? So, even us, like, people, there are saints, Mahapurukhs that could do miracles now, easily. But they're not supposed to. Okay, sometimes they might have to do something. I have one thing that reminds me now. Somebody once came up to Baba Harnam Singh. I recommend any of you to read his book. It's not his book, but it's written by Sant Seva Singh about him, Rampur Khede wale Mahapurukh sige. and it's just called Se Kanaiya. I'll give you the link if you want it. I've got the PDF. And Baba Harnam Singh is sitting in a group of people, like, talking like Vichar, 4 or 5 people, and one of them asks a very awkward question in front of everybody. And the question is, you say that if you do good, Naam Japya Karo, when you do Naam, you get blessed and your life becomes better. Your Jivan becomes safal, yeah? But then what about that Sikh over there who does so much seva, so much Naam, Amritari Hega, but look, he's got a busted leg. He's always dragging himself from left to right, wherever he has to go. He's langda, like this, always dragging himself, crippled. And they asked him right in front of everybody. So they said, look, I wouldn't answer this question normally, but you've asked me, and all these people here, if I don't answer it, you're going to think I'm just a fake, that I don't know the answer. So I'll give you the answer, just about that person. In his last life, he did something very wrong, which is the reason why he's suffering now. He was having roti, he left his plate to go do something. A dog came and took his roti, yeah, and ran away. When he came back and saw a dog has took in his roti, he got a stick and he hit that dog really hard in his back. And the dog's roti is gone, innit? You're not going to take it back and eat it yourself. It's gone. Ho gaya to ho gaya. But what happened? He took a stick and beat him on his back really bad. And that dog was crippled then. For the rest of his life, that dog was dragging himself around on 2 legs. They said, now Onu, he's having to put that same thing now in this life. However, look, he's still being blessed. He's still doing Naam. He's still doing Simran. Of all the things he could be doing as a cripple, he's still in the house of Guru Nanak Dev Ji chanting Naam. He can still get mukti in this life. So they were showing them that what you sow, you have to reap. We don't escape it. And yet, within that sort of hukum, we can still make the best of what we have. So miracles are meant to be done, but then sometimes people know things. They know things more than the average person knows. It's like the power you have isn't always what everybody else has. So some people have more access to more power, more knowledge.
WhyGuru, WhyGuru.